I want to call out and compliment a comment that I got on my last Karen Reed video and briefly discuss it. So stay tuned. Hi, Tony DeWitt here. I'm a Missouri appellate attorney, retired, and I bring you a fresh perspective on the law without offering any legal advice. So pull up a chair. This is what we're discussing today. There are a lot of people out there who think that the best way to express disagreement is to say unkind things about me personally, which, you know, I'm a little amazed by that because I don't think I've ever done anything to hurt anybody on this channel. But I've had some really strange comments. I want to say one thing before I get to this comment because that's not like that. Uh, if you, I don't usually pin comments, but if you really say something that's kind of off the wall and mean spirited, I'm very liable to pin it so that everybody can laugh at you. But for the most part, most of the comments that I've gotten have been reasonably positive. It's hard to do a case like the judge case and not come up with people on both sides of the political aisle who want to fight. I don't want to fight. I just want to tell you, what's in the affidavit. You can take it for what you want, but at any rate, I digress. The comments on that video have not been fun to deal with. But the comments on the Karen Reed case have been generally pretty good, and I want to call out one in particular because good comments will raise an issue. A lot of times it will provide research and sources, they'll present it thoroughly, and they provide me an opportunity as to whether or not I want to comment on it. And that's what this one did. And so this is sort of a model comment here. If you're looking for how to write a comment, not that anybody seems to have any trouble with it, but if you're looking for a way to write a comment, this is the way to do it. So here's the comment. It only took one Google search to find out that no, ground temperature is generally not the same as air temperature. Ground temperature is influenced by factors like solar radiation, soil type, and depth, which can cause it to be warmer or cooler than the air at the surface. Okay, that's good science. And I like that kind of comment because it's essentially saying, without really saying it, you missed the boat here because you didn't talk about ground temperature. And then she goes on to say, I don't care what the weather app says, how well your freezer works, or how high tech apples are. If you walk around barefoot outside a lot, you're going to know that the ambient temperature and the ground temperature are different. Ask a farmer if you doubt me. I don't know very many farmers anymore. I used to know plenty, but I don't know many farmers anymore. And out in where I live, there's not a lot of farming going on. It's odd at the beach that there's not farming, but who knows? Here's what I want to say about that, because while this is a good point and a good comment, the the interesting part of this for me is more about what people sometimes don't look at, but maybe they should. So here is that temperature chart from the last video. And if you go all the way over here to the 26th, that Wednesday, the high temperatures were all well below freezing, 25, 25, 19. You go to Thursday, a high of 12, and then it goes up all the way to 27. And then on Friday, it goes up a little bit to 36, but from 6 p.m. on down till 6 a.m., it just continues to drop to 25. So for a period of days, there has been one 6 hour period when the temperature was slightly above freezing. What that means is that while there may be a theoretical difference between ground temperature and air temperature, at least with respect to the conditions on the ground at midnight, from midnight to 6 a.m. on the 29th of January, the ground was certainly cold enough that the snow was sticking. If it had been warmer than freezing, the snow wouldn't have melted, or the snow would have melted upon impact, right? It wasn't. The snow was not, melting away. It was staying on the ground. and the temperature was continuing to fall on top of that. So the fact is that in this situation where you're dealing with temperatures in that range, whether it's ground temperature or air temperature, it's still not going to be over freezing. And that, I think, was the critical point. And I'd point out that the next commenter here says, wind chill is what the temperature feels like. And he points out that you dress for what the temperature feels like, not for what the temperature says on the thermometer. And I tend to agree with that too. Here's what I want to say about the Karen Reed case. I think that in many cases, people have very strong feelings one way or the other. There seem to be a lot of people who are absolutely convinced in her guilt and a lot of people who are absolutely convinced in her innocence. I am more concerned with the trial tactics and the way things are being done and some of the ethical issues that are built into this trial, particularly since it's a retrial. Everybody seems to be blowing right past the issue of this being a retrial, and you don't want to let on to the jury that, there's been a trial before. Like I said in one of my videos, I think you'd have to have been in a coma for the last year not to know that this case had been tried, particularly if you lived in the Boston area. It's good to have opinions and it's good to hold opinions, and it's good to accept that people may not necessarily agree with you. And when I point out evidence or facts or things that have been said and done inside the courtroom, I'm not trying to take sides. I really am not. I'm simply trying to point out which lawyer's doing a better job. Now, the first day that Mr. Alessi got up and cross examined witnesses, I didn't think he did very well. But when he took on this cell phone expert, I thought he did very, very well. That's the kind of thing that I usually wind up talking about is how the lawyers and everybody are interacting and how the judge is ruling and that sort of thing. I, People are more than welcome to have their opinion one way or the other about whether somebody's guilty or not. And it's not that I don't care, because I do. It's that I don't want to corrupt my analysis by being a zealot in favor of one party or the other. Getting back to what I came here for, I love to see comments of this nature. And if I've missed something, like I've said before, you feel free to tell me. Um, and I think this was a good example of somebody saying, "Hey, I think you missed this." And hopefully I responded to it appropriately here, and I hope the person will see this comment and realize that I appreciated it, because I do. I don't necessarily agree that it hit that the difference between those two temperatures would have made a significant difference in this case. But it's nice when people take issue and see things that I don't see, and they raise that issue and allow me to evaluate that and offer an opinion on it. So again, to Nitty Lenny, thank you very much for getting involved and telling us what you think. That's what I have. That's what I have for you today. I hope you found it helpful, interesting, or maybe both. If there's a subject you'd like me to discuss, please feel free to send me an email at the address above. If you like what we do, please feel free to subscribe and come on back to the beach tomorrow. I release videos every weekday, weather and work permitting. If you have the opportunity today, do a kindness for your fellow man. It makes the world a better place, one kind act at a time. And now, YouTube has some suggestions for other videos of mine that you might like.